So I'm always so surprised by how my voice sounds. I've been DMing a D&D game for technically my first session I think was like a couple months ago, but we've only really done like 3 sessions. It's with a group that I've been playing with since like last summer or something like that. But another guy who's a player now was DMing for that whole time, and he asked if anyone wanted to DM, and I was like, well, not like hell yeah, but like yeah, because it's something I've been wanting to do for a while, even though it's, you know, the concept is beyond terrifying, and it has been. I keep putting off preparing, and then spend way too much time preparing, and then still somehow manage to feel completely unprepared by the time a session gets around. To such a degree that, I mean, like, obviously there's a lot of, like, making stuff up on the spot when you're DMing, but it feels like I'm doing so much of that, and I literally don't know what, like, is happening in this universe until the moment that it happens. Like, I just accidentally invent shit, and then have to be like, oh, I guess this is the world we're in now. And I'm really trying to actually, like, keep things relatively cohesive so that I'm not just making up a completely new world every session, because I feel like that would just get frustrating. Anyway, this is a very long-winded way of saying that I need to figure out a couple things for the next session. So right now my players are there's 3 of them. Millicent, a Drow warlock, I think. Larry, a fighter smashy dragonborn, and Dane, a dwarf. You can't see where my hands are. A dwarf cleric. Dane, a dwarf cleric. I wonder if I should be doing this like this. Probably, but we're not going to bother right now. And they're off to rescue their friend Mav, who's being held in a castle. Castle Rav. I literally didn't realize until I made up that name and had already told the players that they're rescuing Mav from Castle Rav, and that just awkwardly rhymes, but whatever. They're off to rescue Mav from Castle Rav, and they just got inside the castle, finally. And once they got inside, they realized that they couldn't get back out yet, at least. When they look up, there's just like a black dome overhead, and they can't get back through the wall. And there's they're walking through like this wooded courtyard between the wall and the castle itself. I'm extremely bad at telling stories. It's something. Oh my god! Part of why I'm so bad at telling stories is because I just go off on infinite tangents and don't actually get anywhere. But I just had a great realization that that's what I want to be like doing with this. Like, if I'm going to be putting no effort into actually like editing shit for a while, I'm just going to record shit and just put it up. What I want to do is figure out how to like tell a good fucking anecdote or like a short story, because that's what I want to be able to do like in my writing and storytelling generally. Like, I feel like that's the seed that everything is partly that's the seed that everything comes from. If you can figure out how to tell like a good anecdote, then you're gold. You can tell a story. But also, it's just a device that I really like using in like so many different forms in all of the stories that I make. I like characters telling stories, whether it's like telling a story that happened in their own life, like telling a story of what happened in their past, or what happened to a family member or a friend or whatever, or if it's telling a completely unrelated, like, let me tell you this crazy story, and it can just set a really good, weird mood. Yeah, I want to get good at that. I think I'm going to try and start doing that. Just like telling little anecdotes here. And it's going to be really shitty because I'm going to do... I know that if I don't write them out beforehand, it's just going to go like this. But, you know, practice is a thing. So anyway, my players, they're trapped in the castle. They can't get out. There's a black dome overhead. This castle has been... people have been disappearing into this castle, and it's been overtaken for almost 100 years. And in that time, this courtyard between the wall and the castle has been completely overgrown. And when we left the last session, there was a rustling coming through these trees towards the players. And what they're going to find out is that there is a ghost coming towards them that's basically patrolling this little wooded area. And what had happened before they got into the castle, they encountered another ghost character who was actually, I think she was technically a banshee, that I reworked slightly. And by reworked, I mean I just sort of ignored some of her stats and shifted some of her stats and gave her completely random powers, like, in the moment. I was just like, fuck, I don't know what's happening. But there was a bunch of, like, mercenaries and a couple drow soldiers that were trying to corral this banshee, this old ghost of this old elf woman, and drag her back to the castle. And she had like this iron helmet on her, like with no like eyes or like mouth opening or anything. It was just like solid, like iron. I feel like there must be like a word for like a helmet with no, openings, but that's what it was, like faceless mask, not mask, but like thing. Anyway, God, I'm so bad at this. My brain goes everywhere in a useless way. Anyway, so they saw that right before they went to the castle. Now they're about to encounter another ghost person, and what they're eventually going to find out is that I need names for all of these fucking NPCs, and I just don't. I think I've been covering up the microphone this whole time. This probably sounds like garbage. Oh my God. What was I saying? What they're going to find out is that the main villain, the person who's running this castle, is the one who took it over almost 100 years ago. And the ghosts are his family members, or half family members. What I think is going to be happening is, and I really hope none of my players no one in the fucking universe is going to see this, but I really don't want specifically any of my players to see it. That would just be like the worst case scenario, because I'm about to give away the game. The main villain, I think, is going to be I don't like the word bastard. What's illegitimate is worse. We're just going to go with illegitimate because it works in this context. The illegitimate son of this old elf king, who was ostracized and banished from his home, and he returned years later, blasted his way into the castle, killed his family, or half family, I guess, and through necromantic shenanigans brought them back and enslaved them as ghosts or banshees or whatever, spirits. And eventually I think the players are going to make their way into the throne room where the king, this I guess I'm calling him the usurper for now, but I need a better name because he's not really a usurper, but this main villain killed the king, his father. And they're going to find the king wrapped in chains and bound to the throne. And I think if I do it right, it could be a really awesome image. I should practice it here. That's something I should practice here. Like, what does that moment look like when the players walk into the throne room through the broken doors, and they see this figure in ceremonial armor, robes? What is he wearing? This regal figure on the throne, with vaguely translucent, who's completely wrapped in black chains, hundreds of black chains that are all tying him to the throne, and at his feet lies a sword. I don't know what the fucking sword does, but he has a sword! This is all so fucking scattered and meaningless. Jesus fucking Christ. But that's all future stuff. Right now, what just happened, the players are in this wooded area, rustling through the trees, and next session they're going to encounter this ghost, who I think is the half-brother of the main villain. And they're going to fight it, and maybe they're going to, like, be able to befriend it or get it to turn against its brother. I'm not quite sure. Because there's 3 of them at 4th levels, which I think means that they can fight something around, like, 900 to 1200 XP, and I think the basic ghost is like 1100. So they if they just end up fighting it, that could work. I think it'd be more interesting if they can find. I really like how, having wet hair is just the secret, because I really like how it's catching my hair. I always hate in videos how like just sort of flat and stupid my hair looks, and it turns out just like make it wet. Make it wet. It looks good. Light can catch it. Or put junk in it. I should just be putting junk in it. I apologize for the existence of this. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. It's very scary. The only thing more terrifying than existence is non-existence. Like, literally, I would kill myself if being dead didn't sound so much goddamn worse than being alive and stressed out. Ugh. It's a lot. But D&D is cool. It's part of why I feel so stressed out and depressed right now is because I'm probably 2 of the 3 people that I'm playing with, who are some of my favorite people in Chicago, where I live right now. They're going to be leaving probably in like late August, like moving out of the city, moving to New York. And it's mid-March right now. All my friends are leaving. I might be leaving in June. It depends on whether or not I get this job. I really kind of hope I don't get this job, because I just want to move fucking back home, but I could use the money. So D&D is really nice, but also depressing, because it's either ending in like 2 months or 6 months or whatever that is. So either way, it's very much something with an expiration date, and like this group of people that I've gotten really close to that's going to dissolve. The bathroom fan has been on this whole time. It probably sounds very annoying. You may not even be able to hear it though, as shitty as this fucking phone microphone is, and as much as I've just sort of been rubbing my hands all over the microphone and covering it up. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird and good and sad, and it's a good storytelling outlet in a very weird way, because you can't just like tell a story. You have to like set up situations for your players to have fun and for them to like affect the world. And I've been very stressed out by it. Partly stressed out by the actual planning, and now also stressed out and kind of sad about the implicit ending. I don't have a good end for this thing. I just feel weird. And I've got a date tomorrow, so I'm gonna go get some sleep.